Good morning, everyone, and happy Friday to each and every one of you. Thank you all so much for joining us this morning, and welcome to the Autopsy of Her, Healing, Evolving, Resiliency. I am Iris Owens, your host, and on the line is my beautiful sister and co-host. Good morning, Honey Bunny. How are you?
Good morning, Honey Bunny. I'm doing great.
Good to
How you
see
doing?
you. And today, guys, we have an amazing guest with us today. Welcome, Alethea. How are you to this morning?
I'm doing great. No complaints.
Good. We are so happy that you are joining us today. And so, hey guys, today, as you know, we're always talking about our healing, our evolving, our resiliency. And so today we're going to focus on mindset. We're going to focus on abuse, but we're also going to focus on self-care because that's the only way we get through. Like there's trauma that has happened in our life, but we have to evolve. We have to heal from those things and move forward. So today, Alethea, I am so grateful and thanking you for joining us today because you and I had an encounter. We're all three of us on this line are realtors, and Alethea and I met. We've seen each other in passing several times, but a couple of weeks ago, we had a conversation and not realizing that we had more in common than not. Alethea is from New York. We both went to the same high school. And I was like, wait, what? I mean, I have never met anyone who went to the same high school as I. So thank you so much for agreeing to do this morning. And so we're just going to jump in and get started.
And
So
all three of us originally from the Bronx too.
that's right. And we're all
I know
from
I
the
was born in
Bronx.
the Bronx. Were both of you guys born in the Bronx too?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I was born in St. Francis
Wow.
Hospital.
Yes,
Wow.
I was born in French Hospital, which no longer exists. It's
I,
been gone for years.
my St. Francis Hospital has been going also.
Yeah, so there you go.
Autumn Road.
Okay, see, I love it. I love it. So this is the New York City connection going on here today.
Exactly.
So Alethea, when we were talking, and this is what I love about meeting women and meeting women who are true to themselves. And sometimes we don't even realize the stuff that we're carrying. But most importantly is that we don't realize that what we have been through can be a blessing, a help, an open door to someone who may have been through similar, the same, or different. But the fact that being able to speak it out loud is the beginning of one's healing. Being able to, as hard as it is, to accept the things that have happened to us, but to understand how resilient we are, that we are still here and we're still thriving. So today we want to talk about mindset. Mindset starts with, where do you go from when you have been traumatized in life?
Well, I first want to say thank you for this honor. I am absolutely honored to just be able to share because so many of us don't share, whether we're embarrassed, feel humiliated. But my thing is, you can't help someone else get unstuck if you keep it to yourself. Like your testimony, you're talking about it. It also frees you from whoever and whatever happened. You're not their prisoner anymore. The more you talk about it, like you discussed, there's healing in that. There's self-reflection in that. There's just so many positive things. And it becomes easy to move past because you've talked about it. You're not rehearsing it,
Right.
but you're talking about it, to look at it differently, gain a different perspective. And that's where mindset comes in. Mm-hmm. And I've been a mindset coach for over 20 years. So didn't even know if that's what you're gonna, head towards. But mindset is key for everything, especially healing, especially moving on, especially being in a place where you can forgive whoever did whatever they did to you.
Absolutely.
Oftentimes we hear, well, it's hard to forgive because of what they did. But if we keep in mind that forgiveness is for us, the people who used to be a victim, right? And now are victors, it helps us to get them out of the mind. Have you ever thought to yourself sometimes, like say if something happened or a family member got on your nerves or something, or you had a falling out with somebody.
Right.
that because you're angry with them, you tend to think about them, whether you want to or not. They're in your conversations, they're in your thoughts. Somebody might say a word and it triggers you to think about them. And for me, when you forgive, it's easier for you to move past what happened. You're not harboring on the defense. I mean, not on the defense. You're not harboring on the offense.
Yes.
You're not stuck with them in that moment of whatever they did.
Right.
And I feel like the biggest thing that you can do, and the biggest thing that I learned to do that was so powerful, is being able to forgive the offender. Right. That's huge.
Right. So I'm glad you said that, because in what I have learned, I think what we all have to realize is when we continue to have those moments or we don't forgive someone, we are giving up our control to that person, to that thing that has happened to us. And we allow those incidents, that trauma, that hurt, that pain, to keep us stuck in that moment of what has happened to us or what is happening to us. And so the reason for forgiveness, as you said, it's not for them, it's for us. Because we all know, in most times in life, when someone hurts us, when someone does us wrong, guess what? Half the time, they don't know, or the majority of the time, they don't care. Right? Absolutely. Because they've done it. They've done it and they have gone on with their life. We are here, sitting here going, I can't believe this person did this to me. Why did they do it? And I think the other part of the forgiveness is the acceptance of sometimes we will never know the answer as to why it happened.
Exactly.
And we may never get a sorry or I apologize either.
Absolutely. And that is the biggest thing, because we're like, I would say sorry to someone to say, I look for that. I need that. But guess what? If you don't get it, what does that mean for the rest of your life? Are you going to stay stuck?
You have to be the closure for yourself. You can't look for closure from other people.
Because you give them back the power.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So many people are stuck because, I need closure. You'll probably never get it. Suppose a person's no longer on this earth. You know what I mean? Some of those things, like, you're never going to get those things. You have to be the closure for yourself. So you can move on and have the life that God wanted you to have, that you're here on this earth to have.
Right.
But, I don't know. People like to live in that space. I think some people, that becomes their story. Like, they don't know how to create a new story for themselves.
Right. They don't know how to move out of the hurt, the pain, and the trauma to the victory. Because the victory is to become an overcomer of whatever it is. It's hard. In no way are we minimizing what has happened.
No, it's not easy, not at all.
Right.
I mean, and it's probably, I can honestly say that it could be a daily challenge, because it's like you were saying earlier, is that those triggers, all of a sudden you hear something, you smell something, you see something, like, oh my God, you know what I mean? So you have to find that place to go back to like, okay, I'm not going to stay in this space. So it's something that you have to consistently be aware of and be prepared to do, so you won't be back in that space.
You said the trigger, that I didn't realize until walking through the process and going through the journey of healing and forgiving, that you're healed for real. Because I thought I was healed, and then things happened and I was like, I guess I'm not over it. You're healed and you're over it when that song can play. You can go to that place, you can hear that person's name, and you are no longer cringe. You're not upset. You're not angry. You don't have that rage in you. That's when you know. And check this out. Imagine praying, being able to earnestly pray for that person.
Absolutely. That's true forgiveness.
Yeah.
That's forgiveness. See, because we can speak the word and say, I forgive you. But until I release you and everything that you've done, and also release me from the guilt, the shame, the hurt, the pain, I can't move on. But you are absolutely right, Alethea. If I can pray for you, the person who has been done me wrong, look, if you're a believer, that's what God says. Love is you have to forgive the person who did you wrong, because it's not for them, it's for you.
Yeah. But you have to love them.
But you do bless them because you're praying for their healing too. Because obviously
God has loved you. You do like a godly love.
Right. And obviously, when we see or when we have experienced things that are so traumatic at the hands of other people, knowing that I didn't do anything to deserve that. But life is not a bed of roses. There is nothing in this life that says it's not going to be hard, that things will happen to us that we had no idea. But it's not anything that we did to put ourselves in that situation. Right? So with that, the mindset is so important, because until you start to believe differently and until you start to think differently, you are stuck in a rabbit hole. And we always talk about I always say, I don't want to go in a rabbit hole, because I'm afraid of the getting so deep in the rabbit hole.
Can't get out.
That if there's nobody up on that top of that hole to pull me out, how do I get out of that hole? Am I stuck there? Yeah. I don't want to be stuck in the darkness of the things that have happened in my life. So that being said, Alethea, you and I had some conversations about abuse. And I always say, on this earth, on this planet, in this life, I believe that God created us wonderfully and fearfully. Yet though, women and children are victimized so much.
Yeah.
Like it seems like we are on the bottom of the totem pole of other people's aggression. Like we seem to be easy prey. And we know that we are not. We are strong and we are built for this. We are overcomers. We come back from it. So for you, what does abuse look like? What did that look like for you in your life?
Well, for me, it started not at the hands of a significant other. It started at the hands of someone that was supposed to protect me and love me unconditionally. And so my story is a little different in that way. So before I step a little deeper in it, what I wanted to say and address when you were talking about mindset and how to move past things, one of the things we didn't talk about is language, right? So what comes out of your mouth plays a huge role in your stagnancy or your growth, right? And so your mindset and what you say, those two things are very, very powerful when you're trying to go through a healing process, right? And so I had to change my language. When I went through this process of healing from what started as a little girl and me not knowing what love or unconditional love looked like, went into relationships with men who were abusive, and I didn't know any different. I thought, oh, I guess this is what love looks like. But something in me is, I've always had a relationship with God. I was always spiritual, not religious, but spiritual. And so something said, this is not right. You know, it's not okay. I started to have anger and resentment, even violent thoughts, trying to protect myself. And I was like, no, this can't be. And then I had to go and do the homework. Well, if this is not right, and when I go amongst other people, that's not the norm, why would somebody who was supposed to protect me as an innocent child do that and allow certain things, right? So in my journey of healing, I had to realize that some people, unfortunately, either are comfortable in the dysfunction because it takes too much work to come out of it, or they decide to replicate the dysfunction. I decided that I would use the dysfunction to do my own research, do my own self-reflection, and go through healing so that I do not, that stops with me. My daughter doesn't have to deal with that. My sons don't have to deal with that. Other children that I talk to don't have to deal with that. Other women, you know, and some men also deal with things like abuse, verbal, emotionally,
absolutely,
monetarily. I mean, there's so many different forms.
Sexually.
I'm sorry, yeah, emotionally. And see, emotionally, sexually, but emotionally, people look at, so I've been raped multiple times. I've been molested several times for years. That is very damaging. It can be very damaging, right? But the emotional abuse, the mental abuse is so much more deeper.
Yes.
Than any of that, because the emotional lasts way longer than the bruises, they go, the black and blues, they go, stuff heals.
Yeah, they heal. Exactly. Verbal.
But the work that you have to do that comes from the mouth, our language. Because now the abuser has said these things and we might have moved past them, but we're looking in the mirror, repeating the same things they told us, not realizing that's what we're speaking over ourselves, over our lives. Like, you now have come into agreement with the dysfunction.
Absolutely, Alethea. I always say my thing is, always be careful what you say to yourself about yourself, because yourself is listening.
Ooh, that's good.
And I always say you can never take back the spoken word. Once it's out there, you cannot take those words back. You know.
Well, let me say this: what I had to learn to do. You ever met somebody and they might say something like, or it might have been a teacher. In my case, it was a teacher when I was in third grade. She said, "You must be stupid or something. Why don't you know whatever it was, whatever the subject was?"
Yes.
I didn't realize that at the moment that someone speaks something over your life or to you that you're not in agreement with, that you have to right then and there, where they were bold enough to say that and speak that over you, cancel it out. So I can now say, I don't come into agreement with that. Matter of fact, I cancel those words off of my life. Wrong address. That mail does not belong to me.
Right. Return to sender, baby.
That's right.
I love it. Return to sender. And you are right, because, words are things that they never leave us. Like you just said, the scars will heal.
Yes.
Right. And sometimes we will forget something because we don't have the evidence of it, and to remember what we felt or how we felt when we did that thing before. But emotionally, Steph and I always laugh, and we talk about the skeletons that come out of your closet and chase you all around the room.
All around the room.
That part. Many of us live our lives in that dark area, meaning that things have happened to us. We have not healed from them. We have not resolved them. We have not gotten over them. We have not canceled them, as you said, Alethea. And yet, when we are going about our lives, we are happy, we believe everything is great, everything is grand. And then something triggers us. And here we are sitting in a corner, sucking our thumb, like,
taking your track. You're like, what happened? You know what I mean? Because you won this, and all of a sudden,
takes us back milestones when we have come so far.
Let me tell you, it will come out in the most, the worst times ever, in a new relationship, at a new job, with a new family member, when you're trying to have new beginnings in your life, and how you respond to a thing or a person. And they might look at you like, what in the world? Like, what's going on?
Right.
And to take a step back and say, oh my goodness, they either said or did something that put me in the mind of such and such, or this situation. And now we're giving them something that they don't deserve. So one of the things that I do in the mornings when I'm doing my meditation and spending time with God before I start my day is I ask God to make me aware of my words, my environment, the people around me, because I never want to be the person that causes hurt to somebody, knowingly or unknowingly. I want to be conscious of how I relate to people. I want to be so aware that if they're having a bad day, that I can maybe speak life, like they'll be highlighted to me, and I can go and just take a moment out of my busy day and speak something. Because let me tell you, several years ago, I was going through something. I want to say probably like 12 years ago, I was going through some really, really hard, rough times. And I barely had time for myself, never mind to be a coach to anybody else. Like that whole year, it was just, what is happening? What is happening here? What did I do to deserve this? But I kept feeling a tug. And then this lady in the store was highlighted to me. Meaning that every time I go down the aisle, it's like, boom, she's there. I'm over here, she's there. I'm like, okay, God, okay, what we doing now? So I prayed, give me the words to say, show me, and walked up to her and I said, I know you don't know me, but God loves you so much that he told me to come over here and give you a hug. She couldn't get words out. She just started bawling, crying. I hugged her. She was literally going home to take her life.
Wow.
And so for me, a platform or not, a mic or not, a crowd or not, wanting to see people better is who I am to the core. And I really believe that because I'm not afraid to speak out, because I'm not too selfish to give up a little of my time to be a blessing to somebody else, that doors continuously open for me, opportunities continue open for me. And my then abusers get to see how they, not that they stopped me or caused me to be stagnant, but then I can turn around and say, thank you. Because if you didn't do what you did, if you didn't say what you said, I wouldn't be who I am to positively impact other lives. And when you make an impact, you better know those waves are coming. But I say impact anyway.
That's right.
Impact anyway,
That's
because
right.
just imagine how many lives both of you are saving in doing, having this platform, and being bold enough to speak out and letting people know it's okay to talk about it. It doesn't make you look crazy. It doesn't make you look weak. It says, I will not hide the predator.
Yes.
They don't get to do what they did and we keep it in a secret.
Yes.
No, I'm telling everything.
Yes.
I'm telling everything.
Yes.
So maybe you'll think twice about doing it against somebody else.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
And he will not be sitting at my Thanksgiving table, my Christmas table, my Easter table. He will not be sitting there and just don't go over there near him. Oh, absolutely not. He won't be around, so you don't have to tell the kids not to go near him.
But let me tell you what's even more powerful is when the incidents happened, you might have been a little nervous, scared, intimidated to be around a person. But now when you move the way we are moving, they can't even look us in the eye. They can't want to be around. So that's how you
cower. They cower in our presence. And you know what? You never have to, because a lot of times people will say healing, you need to go back and approach the person who did whatever they did to you. That may work sometimes, but I feel it is what you just said. For me to be able to stand boldly, confidently, not afraid in the presence of the person who did whatever it is you did. Because I'm still standing.
Yes.
I am still standing, and I'm standing before you.
Yes.
And you are the one who now is intimidated. And I'm not trying to hurt you. I just want you to know that you didn't break me. You didn't take me down. You didn't change who I am. And if you did, you changed it for the better.
That's right.
Maybe
the way it went about wasn't what I expected, but you changed me all the more for the better.
Because that doesn't kill you, only makes you stronger.
Yes. And sometimes that hurts like hell.
And you know what?
But we made it through it.
That's right. And they have to live with that. Let me tell you, when somebody rapes you and you can forgive them, when you forgive them, you release them and the offense. They can never get rid of the fact that they did this to you. Every single time they see your face, hear your voice, see you on a screen, see you leveling up, they are constantly reminded you forgave them. But let me tell you, that's one of the things I just love about God and just how he does things is, you know, when you do things his way versus the easy way, right? Now I was body though. I'm just gonna tell you, I was a little rough. You know, and
you from the Bronx. How can you not be about body?
It's that under thing. People may not be able to look at you and tell right away, but
I want everybody to understand. If you are not a New Yorker, please understand. I always try to tell people. People say people from New York are hard, and we had to be.
Period.
We had to be. There was no other choice to survive what we grew up in, how we grew up. Would I change it? Absolutely not, because it made me who I am. It made each of us strong, independent, resilient individuals, right? But did we pay some prices in those? Yeah, but guess what? That could have been any place in the world, right? But the point is, as a New Yorker, most of us were riding the trains by ourselves at 8.
Yes, and several buses to get
and buses to go to school, to go to work.
In snow above our knees.
Yes.
My mother had me on an airplane by myself at 2 years old.
Okay. Walking, how about walking through the neighborhood where the buildings, some of the buildings are abandoned. You don't know who's in those buildings, but what did we learn to do? Baby, you walk in the middle of the street. You do not walk on the sidewalks because you don't know who's in those buildings, but you had to walk that way. You didn't have another choice.
Right.
Resiliency it's already in us. Like you said, that's the thing I love about God. Even when I want to forget how strong I am or that I can deal, God reminds me that I am strong, regardless of what comes, what may, until the day comes that God says, okay, I'm calling you home to be with me. I got it.
Exactly. Definitely.
I got it.
About it.
Right? Michelle Obama made a statement once before and said, it is an atrocity for us as women to experience the things that we experience and then keep it to ourselves and not share it to help someone else heal or grow or be free.
So true. Absolutely.
And I truly believe that.
I truly believe that too. And not to mention that I honestly tell you that these people need to go to jail too.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing that the point, especially when we're dealing with these whole things that happens in the families and things like that, we don't move forward to those things. But now in my time now, I'm all about, I will put you in jail. You have to figure that out.
So let me say this, in dealing with some of my clients that had to go through stuff like this, right? I had to have the hard talk that went a little like this. Some people did what they did because it was done to them.
Oh, absolutely.
They didn't know anything different. They didn't like how it felt, but their response was to, replicate that,
right.
For whatever reasons, that's the way their mind chose to deal with that.
Victims become abusers.
Right. Yes. Now, there also are some that deal with real life psychological issues, right? And then you have some that are plain old evil. Okay. There's so many different reasons why people do what they do. And it was easy to, when you break that down and realize that everybody is not doing it because they're a monster. They're actually people who were abused, who were raped and things like that. And again, they didn't like it. But instead of, using that to stand on the shoulders of, and go higher, maybe they didn't have the support. Maybe they didn't have the resources. Maybe they didn't have the education that's available to know how to, move past this. Maybe something else was going on in their life and they just didn't have the inner strength. I mean, there's so many reasons why they stuck a little bit longer. And so what I said to them was, extend yourself some grace. Extend yourself some grace. And while you're at it, because you don't really know why they did what they did,
Yes.
extend them some. It doesn't mean that you are a punk. It doesn't mean that you're weak. It doesn't mean that you are going to allow them or anybody else to keep doing it. What it means is you have decided to take a hard, long, detailed look at why, who, what might have been the domino effect. The list goes on.
Correct.
And I tell them, just like me, I want you to use what the enemy meant for your evil and make it work for your good.
Yes.
How now can you reach back and help somebody else? How did it make you feel? What were your thoughts?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, when I tell you so many levels to this thing, I mean,
layers and layers.
We'll be peeling for days.
Yes.
Why? Who was evil? He wasn't evil. Who had been a victim? So now they become an abuser. It's like, where does it even like? Let's be clear. Some of the women in these pictures, you have the evil women. They already know, set their daughters up. If I get this man, I'll get this man because he know he can mess with my daughter. But you know that's what he's gonna do. So you just evil because your mama did it to you. But it's like, it's something, especially when you're talking about a mother who you came through her, and she wants to put you in that position.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you need to be under the jail. Him, and everybody else. But it's like, and then it was an incident that happened to someone I know, and her uncle abused her. She told her mother was her mother's brother. Her mother said, "Oh, just suck it up. That's just the way it goes." Yeah, you need, like, come on, because you as a woman, especially you as a woman speaking to your daughter, I think that's an atrocity. How would you say that to your daughter?
I realized, something similar happened in my life. And as I got older, one of the reasons for not addressing it then, I realized, was they didn't want to rock the boat. They didn't want to ruffle feathers. And it probably sounded good to them at that time. For me, I'm thinking, how selfish of you. How selfish of you to use an excuse like that when I could have easily taken myself out because of the shame, because of what did I do wrong, because of how could this happen? What did I do to deserve it and stuff as a child? Let's not even talk about as an adult. That's on a whole other level, because then people say, well, why didn't you just walk away? Well, it's a lot. It's a lot more to it than just walk away. And that's something that I want to go ahead and put out right now too, is that if there's anybody that is listening to this that feels like they need to get away from a situation, I would definitely say you want to use wisdom. You want to use wisdom. You want to make sure that enough people that you trust are aware of it. It could be somebody at your job, somebody. So if in the event something were to happen, there are several people who know what's going on. But do not make a move out of emotion. You have to be strategic. You have to be wise. You have to know what resources are available to you, because if you don't, then you have people who return back to the situation and now it's worse because they didn't think it through. Unfortunately, you have to plan. And if they're clever, you're going to have to one them up until you can get the support you need and put the steps in place to exit safely. I definitely wanted to say that.
You are absolutely right. You are absolutely right. I wanted to address something that you said, Alethea, with regards to that's, both of you said the, things have happened. A lot of times the abuser is the person who has been abused themselves. And when it comes to the family secrets, right? Times were different, right? Unfortunately, based on where people were, because men didn't just start raping women recently. This has been happening a very long time. Culturally, fathers have impregnated daughters and had children. They have married daughters. They have married, it is the thing though that we have to learn, as we keep saying, as much as it feels like you're the reason, or you are the person who should be ashamed, or you should walk around with your head down, speaking these things out loud, first of all, getting help. That's a very,
Exactly.
culturally, we tend to be, oh my God, we don't talk to psychiatrists. We are not crazy. We are crazy. Crazy in the sense that we're trying to live normalcy in a situation that is not normal.
It is really abnormal, exactly.
That we're trying to make it, we're trying to say, this is just the way it is. No, it is
No,
not. And it
nope.
does not have to be that, right?
That's right.
The
Mhm.
first time somebody puts their hands on you, or they do something to you that's inappropriate, as you just said, Alethea, we don't move on it. We're in shock. We're like, I can't believe you just did that to me. But we don't leave. And then we have all these reasons why we don't leave, right? If you let's just say you're the woman who, you have a husband, you have a significant other, and you are the caretaker of your children, of your family. You're the home engineer. You don't work outside of the home. You're already cut off from family and friends because you are at home. You don't have the ability to be out and to talk, and you're completely and reliant upon your significant other financially, right? This person has already told you, you need to be over here doing this. I don't need you over here socializing. I don't need, all those things are triggers. Those are signs that you're in an abusive
That's
relationship.
right. That's right.
Well, see, you said something really key.
Isolate and annihilate.
That right there, that's what I was getting ready to say. Let me tell you
Yes.
something. One of the first things, or one of the first signs that you know that you are in a potentially abusive relationship is when, for one, they want to control your movement. So they were
Yes.
drawn to you in your independence, but they get with you, and now they want to control it. Oh, I don't really like that lipstick on you.
Yes. I don't
Oh,
like that dress.
I don't like that friend.
Why do
Oh,
you have to laugh so loud?
right.
Why do you cannot, why you call him babe? I called you babe when I met you.
But what about this? What about this? The friends that were cool, now they have a problem with every single friend.
Everybody.
Can I just tell you, all of that is how they begin the process of isolation. They
Mhm.
need to
Absolutely.
isolate you to then get here, to affect your mindset, how you
Yeah.
feel about yourself. Now,
That's
if
right.
you depend on them, if you don't know yourself, and that's why I talk about this all the time, you have to know who you are. You have to love you. You have to look in the mirror and speak positively about yourself. If you
Yes.
don't get into a relationship looking for that, because now you give that person the power to tell you you're beautiful, make you feel beautiful. But guess what? You also gave them the power to tell you when you're not. And you're going to believe. And when you
Yes.
do that, they know, because abusers, they know.
Oh, they're
No,
very
They play on your vulnerability.
that's right.
exactly.
So they have you. And so when you go and change that lipstick, when you go and stop wearing, if you wear lashes, when you stop wearing whatever you were wearing, they know, oh, I got her.
Got her.
And
Yeah.
then now they go to the next level of it. Now it's, well, you said you were going to the store. The store is 20 minutes away. You've been going an hour and 30 minutes. Bruh, I'm your wife, your girlfriend. I am not your child. Who are we talking
I
about?
know that's right. I'm a
But guess what?
grown.
In
Listen,
those
I'm sorry, did I
cases,
say, bruh?
you don't, yes, you did. That's fine. You were being right.
I'm
You
just
you
keeping it
were
real.
speaking. No, keep it real. This is not about this is why we talk, because real talk in this society, see, in this society right now, we are willing to take off all our clothes, and we're willing to shake it and do all these things. We're willing to have people record us having sex with them. But we are not willing to share that damage, that brokenness. We
Which
hide behind all of that.
all that
And
damage and the brokenness is why you're doing all
why
those
we
things.
eggs
Oh,
right there. Put
and
a
I know
pin,
who you are.
put the pin, put a pin right
And
there.
they know, they know at that point, you don't know who you are. You don't know your value. You don't know your worth. And let me tell you, 9 times out of 10, they saw you were a gem. They saw that you had it going on. They saw it. They had to feel like, let me break that down a little bit, because if I can humble her, if I can make her doubt herself a little bit, now I can step in. So I know everybody might be looking. I know everybody might think she's smart or she has a great personality. So I need to slowly pull that apart.
Break her down.
And exactly. And then I'm gonna build her up. So now if I broke you down and I build you up, that means that now I have the power to break you down again against your own.
Keep you there. And here's one thing I think I don't think we ever talk about is that, remember, that person who's doing those things to you, they are broken.
Exactly.
They are broken. They are the person who doesn't have it together. They are the person who have these weaknesses that are keeping them where they are. They are the persons who have not addressed their own hurt and their own trauma, but they're putting that all on you.
Yeah, they're very insecure. They have low self-esteem. And a lot of men are very insecure. A lot of men have low self-esteem. And they see a woman that has high self-esteem and feel good about herself. And that's what they, like you said, Alethea, they're attracted to that. But once they get you, they gotta break it.
Then I gotta break it down.
Exactly.
So since we have talked, we've spent some time. I wanna make sure we leave our audience with self-care. We always want to leave you with positivity, and we have dropped some nuggets already.
Yes.
But what do you share? What do you tell a woman that's in that moment, in that space in her life? And it may not even be abuse, right? It could just be she's just not feeling herself, her own worth. Has nothing to do with the man, has nothing to do, but she's not feeling her worth. How do we work on being better for us?
Well, I can tell you this, and I don't mind sharing my age. At 51 years old, I've been on a journey for a long time. So yes, I have degrees. Yes, I have certifications. Yes, I've been doing the work. Yes, I've been helping clients for over 20 years, and I am still doing the work. That right there, I'm still with my qualified self. I am still constantly doing the work. I don't think it ever ends. I don't think it ever ends, right? Because anything that is alive, anything, when you look outside and you see the trees and the grass, you see the flowers, anything, or even the river, anything that is moving constantly, anything that is growing constantly, that is an indication that it is alive, right? That it is still fulfilling a purpose, right? And so I don't want anybody to feel like any one of us has arrived, and that's why we're having this conversation.
No.
There is a constant work that needs to be done, and you have to be more dedicated to you than you are to anything and anybody else. Period. You have to be dedicated to this journey. You have to be dedicated to getting to know who you are. One of the biggest mistakes that we make as women when we're looking for a partner, we shouldn't be looking for anybody. They should find us.
Exactly.
Right?
Amen.
We should be.
Amen. Say that again, Alethea. Drop that nugget again.
So true.
Come on.
Yeah, I mean, really, like, no, when you know your worth, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
Look at yourself. I don't care what you got going on. Like, let me just be honest. Like, all of a sudden, in my 50s, now my face want to start doing some craziness. And I'm like, you're very disrespectful face, but guess what? I thank God for you. You know, like the grays, I got, grays. I'm like, what am I going to do? And I have to turn that language around, look in the mirror.
Exactly.
You got it going on. We're going to make this work. You still going to be sexy. You still going to be fine. You have to speak to yourself. You got to speak to yourself. You got to speak over yourself. You got to speak into yourself. And you got to do
it. Preach it.
Yes, exactly. You never lie.
You have to do that daily. So what I will say is you have to do a lot of homework with you. Mm-hmm. Why do you react the way you react? Why do you attract who you attract? Why are you in a cycle? Why are you attracted to dysfunction?
Mm-hmm.
What about you? Ask God to reveal to you the areas and things in your life that attract junk, that attract what you no longer want, that attract who you were in your old season and not who you are now in your new season.
Mm-hmm.
Want to look at, oh, this is big. Proximity is so important. Your environment is so important. Who you around is so important. Reading books, getting books, go and have some coffee. You don't have to. Now, I like to have my little wine from time to time. I'm just going to keep it real. But sometimes you want a glass. Sometimes you might want a glass of wine and go sit and read. You know, a book, a self-help book, a book about health, a book about mindset, a book about whatever business that you're in that can help you. Constantly find ways to grow yourself, to pour into yourself, to feed yourself. Now you're depending on God and yourself to feed you. And so now when you're in a stronger, better, more secure and stable place as a human being, you are no longer out here, which I'm searching on your forehead. You look like, they might come up to you and say, you look like you're always busy all the time. I don't know if you have a little time, but I just want to see if I can take you out. Like, yes. Like, I'm not out
I want to appear somewhat unapproachable because I want you to really think about it. When you come,
yeah, exactly. I put some work in before you walk over here.
And you know what? You all that you just said, Alethea, I think that's our shield. That's the shield to protect us from the ones who means us no good. The things in our lives that we do not need, that will not come and improve our lives in any way, shape, or form. And if we have that, we are walking with that level of confidence. Yes, more than likely, the person who is not ready will not even want to, because in their mind, they already know, I can't mess with her. I got nothing to offer her.
Yes.
I got nothing to offer her.
And let me say this too, because this just came to me when you said this. I've had my share of how can I say it? What would I call them? Prospects, you know, married. And for whatever reason, a lot of men, now not all, so I'm gonna put the disclaimer out there. I'm not talking about all men.
Yes.
There are some men who let's say are financially stable and they know it. Unfortunately, they will use that to, I guess, lower their, they don't feel like they have to come up to your standards because they have the money. And what
they're standing on them, they're
standing on their wallet. You don't want a man who's standing on his wallet, because the man who's standing on his wallet don't have nothing else, baby. He don't have anything else to give you. And remember this, he will give you his money in the beginning, but that is only that's the bait.
The lure.
That's the lure, baby. That's what he's doing. And so once you get there to a point where you're trusting him, again, now it's hook, line, sinker, right? It's like, oh, so now that you bought into this, now I'm going to take off my representative self. And the real me is going to come out.
Yes, it is.
So that's good. I love that.
And another thing I was thinking, that your vibrations, I'm big into vibrations, because that's what your vibrations that you're putting out is what you're attracting back to you. So it is so important to keep your vibrations as high as possible. I mean, there are those days that you're going to wake up, it's like, oh my God, it's just one of those days. And it's like what it takes, definitely prayer, meditation, reading any type of book that's good, that's going to feed your soul, that's going to make you feel good. You have to really focus on not putting yourself in situations that make you feel bad. I mean, it's like a grocery store I don't go to. The energy in the grocery store is so weird to me. I can't go there. Like I could go to another thing. I could go to another grocery store. Yes. There are, if we pay attention to our feelings, your feelings tell you everything that you want to know. We're just not in tune to our feelings the way we should. And that's something that we really need to focus on, because your feelings are everything. If you have high vibrations, and not from alcohol or drugs, anything like that, but naturally, then at a high level, all those other things good things start coming to you.
So let me say something, and you all correct me if you feel differently. So one thing that I realized that I could not do. So I feel like if you believe in God and the Holy Spirit, lean on that. Some people don't. They have whatever it is that they believe in that leads them, right? Gives them intuition, allows them to feel if something is off or they shouldn't go to a particular thing or whatever. For me, I'm going to tell you, before I got to a place where I understood that this is an ongoing journey, I relied on my emotions, and my emotions screwed me. Let me explain.
She will let you down.
Your emotions will trick you. They will let you down. Your emotions will tell you this is too scary, or sometimes it will cause you to self-sabotage. What do I mean by that? Because if you're not totally healed from a situation, you may sabotage a new friendship, a new relationship, because your emotions are telling you that's what so-and-so did, that's what they said, but they're not so-and-so. But my emotions kept causing me to sabotage what was supposed to be fruitful relationships that were supposed to come and bless me, but I shut it down because I was too afraid. It sounds similar. It looked familiar. And that's what we go back to. We continue to give these weak people the power to continuously control our decisions, our reactions, our actions, our future, how we move with other people, if we'll get married again, if we'll trust another, significant other, and the list goes on. Like, I depend more on God and whoever it is that your audience serves. For me, is God. Depend whatever it is you depend on. My thing is I depend on him more than I do my emotions, because my emotions are like, they're deceiving. They can deceive, and they have deceived me. And that's just from my personal experience. Yes. Now, feeling a vibe and the energy, I'm a very spiritual person. So I can go into a room and it could be nobody there, but I can feel what was there previously. And I might go into a house or place, and if it don't feel right and I'm feeling a certain way, I will exit, period. I don't know an excuse other than I gotta go. I don't play about my peace. I don't play about my environment. I don't play about who I interact with. I don't play about who I give my time to. I know my worth. And that's what I would say to your audience is, know your worth. Stop compromising. You don't need to deal with the crumbs anymore. Crumb season is over. Period.
Ooh, she said crumb season is over.
A full, colorful, healthy plate. Okay, I know that's right. She said crumb season is over.
OMG. So listen, on that note, we're gonna have to end. We're gonna have to have a part 2. I'm sorry, but this is so good. This has been amazing, Alethea. We so do appreciate you, and definitely we are gonna have to have a part 2, because I know individuals are gonna be like, wait. You left us with a cliff.
A little cliffhanger there.
We are leaving you on the cliffhanger because we want you to come back and join us again. Alethea, thank you so much for all that you shared today. We so do appreciate you joining us today. And guys, I hope that you have a wonderful weekend. Take these nuggets that we dropped, because we dropped some nuggets today, right? Take them. No more crumbs. I'm leaving with that. Crumb season is over.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend.
You guys be blessed. Thank you.